Hey, welcome everybody to part two of the EGlaze Chronicles on this Monday. You saw my first guest, Bobeth Yates of CBS 46. This in the 8 o'clock hour, we got author, Dr. He's an engineer. He thinks nobody, everybody knows him as author, but I also know him as an engineer, a HBCU person just like me. It's a shout out to, I think if I'm not mistaken, them FAMU, them rattlers down there. Shout out to them rattlers in the building. Dr. Edmund Moore, how are you, sir?
Oh, doing great. It's a blessed evening.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let me just put the book up. I'm going to jump right into it. I have to. I'm going to put a copy of the book up right now. It's called With the Father's Love, 52 weekly letters to my beloved daughters. If you can see the book, please go support. Just the title alone is intriguing. Talk to us a little bit about this, Dr. Monroe, and tell the story of what brought about this book and these letters to your daughter.
She was probably about 6 years ago now. My wife filed for divorce, and in divorce cases, you always worry about will you get custody of your children.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things I wanted my daughters to do is to know who their father was. So I wrote a letter a week on a various topic to each of them for 52 weeks. And that's how that came about. And later on, people asked me about it. And they said, you should put that in the book.
Wow. So being a father of daughters myself, I know we them daddy's girls and things of that nature. When this first got down, I know everybody, you don't want to get a divorce and things just happen and all that. But was that the first thing that crossed your mind, is that I may not have a chance to connect with my daughters anymore the way that I want to when that first happened?
Not when it first happened, but in talking to other fathers who had gone through the actual court and the process, found out it's like one of the toughest courts on men in the country. And so that starts getting you worried a little bit about how you're gonna maintain that relationship. And the other thing is my father and mother, I really didn't know a whole lot about them that they could have shared. So I figured that, hey, this would be a way for me to share a little bit about who your dad is.
Right. What was the ages? I think they were pretty young. I know you had a teenager at the time, and 9 and 13. Right. What was your fear at that age? What were your fear about them? What could happen to them during this process once it happened? I know you were probably sitting there like, they're at that age, they're at that 13-year-old age, especially where at that teenage year from middle school to high school, and you want to be there and you got to be there. You want to make sure you put that impression, but just that age range, what was the thoughts going through your head of what you wanted them to hear from you through this process?
Well, the first thing you always think about is, divorce is not a fun thing to go through, and you want your children, whether they're male or female, you want them to understand it's not their fault. So that's the first thing you really want to do, is to say, hey, this happened between your mother and I. It's not, you're not responsible for this, and that's the first thing you want to do, is make sure they're comfortable and they're not blaming themselves.
Talk to us when you wrote week one. What was that for you? What was that like for you when you first put pen to paper and you wrote that first weekly letter to your daughters?
I think my first letter was titled something in nature, "I will always love you." So that, to me, that was the bedrock, the basis for all the letters. So I wanted to put out there I had that unconditional love for them, so that they would know that they were loved, no matter what was going on, no matter what they did. I'm their dad. I'll always love you. And also set up a format for the rest of the letters to follow using that letter as well.
Did you thought about putting it in a book, or was this supposed to be personal at first?
About halfway through it, I told my daughters, I said, you know what, I'm going to put this in a book for you guys. And I said, I had the loose leaf letters to them. And I said, I bound this, get in the book. And that's one of the things I did. So I found a hybrid publisher, and we went and put a book together just for them. Only made 3 copies of it.
Wow. So that's amazing in itself when you put it in a book and just for 3. But what made you want to, in today's time, everybody's like, well, that seems like it's private. That should be something you keep between you. But what made you want to share it with the world? This passionate thing with you and your your two daughters. What made you want us nosy people to be able to read those letters? What made you want to share it with us?
My original intent was not to share the letters at all. It was I was content with I having a copy and my daughter's having a copy. Right. But then I teach Sunday school, and I was sharing this story with some of my fellow people in the Sunday school class, and a few people asked to read some of the letters, and I shared it with them. They said, "Wow, you should really put this in a book." And even the hybrid publisher that helped me put the 3 together said, "This would be good for girls, particularly girls who don't know their fathers, who have stepfathers, those kind of things." She said, "You'll really be helping girls out by putting this out as a book."
Right.
So that's sort of was the genesis to actually putting this into a book for the general population.
What has been the biggest feedback from it? And who has given you the biggest feedback? Has it been young girls, or has it been men who have that unconditional love like you're describing, who feel your story?
It's actually been across the board. I've received feedback from young people, from young ladies, but actually from young boys to say, "Well, where's our book?" You wrote one for them. Well, where's ours? Where's the one for the boys?
We like letters. We like to hear things. We like to hear books. We like stuff like that.
But quite honestly, what really got me about the book was adults like the book. It's the adults, and particularly adult women like the book.
Wow. That's going to be the next question. How have women received it? Adult women have received it.
Yeah, they seem to like it pretty well. I've had some men and some who have shared the book with their daughter and gone through the book with it. But one of the things I did highlight in the book was this was not meant to be a end-all book. It was really to facilitate fathers to write to their daughters. So,
because I think that's a big thing missing. And like I said, that emotion that and I think what's so special about the book and whatever you was able to create, because you showed a vulnerability like a lot of men don't like to show. And it's good to see that you showed that with this passion letter to your daughters. What did you get from writing it? From writing the letter? What did you get personally from writing these letters? I know you wanted your daughters to get something from it, but what did you get from it?
I got to go back and relive some of the past events that happened in my life. For one of them, for example, when I was younger, I was in a band, and I had to go back and man, I was in a band. We used to play music and that kind of thing. And I had to go back and figure, what was the name of that band? And some things, I had to pull some things out of memory.
So it just brought some things up, made you say, wow, yeah, I remember when I used to do that. Yeah. So let me ask you, so you can tell me what did happen? How is the relationship now with you and your children?
My daughters are teenagers, so you can't tell the teenagers anything. They know everything.
Yeah, I think I set myself up with that. You're right. My bad. Yeah, I understand that myself. I should have known that. But that's interesting, man. Just to see that it's 52 weeks. You've been doing this circuit. You've been talking to people. What's been some of the most surprising comments you've gotten from people who interviewed you and things of that nature about this book? What have you surprised yourself? You're like, man, I wrote a book and I didn't know it would get all this type of publicity and things of that nature. What's been the most surprising about this with you in the book?
Most surprising. More the personal question, especially from women interviewers. Like, are you going to date again? That kind of thing.
I can imagine. Hey, so what is your status? Let's get into it. Let's talk about your status.
Lockdown in the pandemic.
So during the pandemic, what has it been for you? Let's just go into that right now. You brought it up. What's some of the things that you've been able, what's been going on with you during the pandemic and your family and things of that nature? What's been going on with you?
Well, the funny thing was right before the pandemic, I was getting ready to go on a Tom Joyner morning cruise.
Oh, wow.
And I was fortunate in the fact that it got canceled. Well, it didn't get canceled, it got delayed. They don't cancel
Delayed.
cruises because they
That's right.
keep the money. But I was I was fortunate to end up on a ship in the middle of this pandemic. First
Right.
of all, so that was truly a blessing. But I was looking forward to going out for 7 days and just having fun and relaxing. And so I view it as I never got my vacation that I was planning to, and the pandemic hit. So and now we're basically fortunate I have a job, so I get to work from home.
Right.
A lot of people are not blessed to be able to do that, so that's a blessing. And my daughters will be going to school online again.
Yeah.
They had to finish up online in college and in high school, and we know that we're going to start off in high school online again and college as well. So,
how did they react to the book? How have they reacted to it going out and being in public and seeing you doing all these interviews? Is it like, wow, look at Dad doing his thing, or wow, I wish Dad would quit talking about this and putting us out there like that? How's it been for them, your daughters, and all of this that's going on with the book?
Probably closer to the later.
They don't want to be out there. Hey, Dad, can you just quit talking about it for a minute? You know, we know you wrote us some letters, so stop. You know, we got it. But have they accepted it? Have they been able to roll with it? Have they been, part of this? Have they given feedback, to people on this?
They are very quiet on it.
Okay.
It's not much communication about the book. So
they call it the book. They don't say my father's great novel, his great story. It's the book. That's what they call it. Do you have a second? Do you have do you feel like another book could come out from this after this is going through? Could you do a follow-up book to tell how, something came with this? Do you see yourself continuing being that author with more books and more publications and things of that nature?
Well, I floated an idea to a nonprofit organization I'm a part of about writing a book, and I wanted to target it to the young men. That was my proposal, but the pushback came back. No, just make it for everybody. Make it for all the teens, not for just young men. So that may be the next book.
Yeah. So is this something that, I know you're a doctor, so we know you got some, you're a HBCU, a Rattler and all that, but is this something that did you ever find yourself wanting to be an author, or is this just something that you just happen to be because of the love of your daughter that just came about? With this always, everybody has that one thing they think about, I want to do this one day, but did you ever think that you'll be one to be author, Dr. Edmund Moore?
I didn't really think about it. As a child, I would write poetry, write short stories, that kind of thing. As an engineer, you're always writing, whether it's technical papers or reports and editing and other people's work. So always writing. So it wasn't that hard to do. Okay. I'll put it that way.
You make it seem easy, man. It can never, I could just write stuff and put it down like that. But, all right, you say it's easy, something to do. That's how engineers talk, I guess. Just write stuff down, pen and paper. When people read this book, what do you want them to get from it?
For children that read it, young ladies, young men that read it, I want to get out of that that parents are human just like them. None of us are perfect. And we have good advice to provide to them. We have some stories about us that are not so good, things that you can avoid. Don't have to learn from the bad decisions. It's sort of a well-rounded book. So just pray they get something out of it that can help them with their life.
So let me just ask this before we thank you for joining us, Dr. Moore. Let me ask this: How did everything go overall between you and your wife and the proceedings? Did everything go better than you thought, or was it just, it went like they said it was? Because you know how people can make things seem a little worse than it really was. But how did everything go for you?
Took about 5 years to get through the divorce.
Okay. All right.
It wasn't quick.
Jesus, 5 years. All right, we won't end on that. We end on a positive note. Hey man, so the book is called With the Father's Love, 52 weekly letters to my beloved daughters, Dr. Edmund Moore. Pick up your copy. Where can I get a copy of this book, sir?
Well, easiest way to do it would be go to my website, which is edmundmoore.com. That's Edmund with a U. The book is available through Kindle, Barnes and Nobles, and Amazon. And I'm on all social media. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So you can search me with author Edmund H. Moore. Find on those as well.
I'm not gonna lie, sir. You don't look like you much of a. Are you really a social media guy, or are you trying to? Or is that your thing? Are you really one of those guys that like to be on social media?
I am a reluctant social media guy. That's one of the skill sets I'm having to learn.
Oh, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. That's awesome. Dr. Edmund Moore, we appreciate you taking the time to come on the EGlaze Chronicles. Again, With the Father's Love, 52 weekly letters to my beloved daughters. Go to Edmund with the U, more.com to pick up your copy. Follow him on all his social medias. Check it out. Any shout outs you want to give, sir, before we leave for the day?
Just want to shout out to my daughters. Just pray they're doing well. And thanks for the opportunity to come on your show, Emmanuel.
Absolutely. Shout out to our peoples, and thank you for coming on, and check out the book. Interesting. You got some dads out there need to take up and step up. You write letters and stuff. Now you got people now got to figure out. Some of us can't write, sir. We typing and stuff, and you writing on loose leaf paper.
You can text. You can use. You can write some on a tablet, on a stone tablet. Biblical day. Just communicate.
Just communicate. Let's communicate. We thank you, sir, and thank you for joining the EGlaze Chronicles right now. Check out the book again. I'm gonna put it out there one last time. With the Father's Love, 52 weekly letters to my beloved daughters, Dr. Edmund Moore. Make sure you put that in there. You got the letter in there, so you got to make sure you put that in there. Edmund with a U. Go check it out. Thank you, sir. We appreciate your time, and we hope that we get that follow-up book too. So and all that good stuff. All right.
All right then. Have a blessed evening. Thank you.
Have a blessed day, everybody. Thank you for joining us.